UFC runs on steroids, and Dana White approves it. Biggest MMA stars looked like Hulk on crack. MMA was never clean. In the early days, drug testing was a rumor, not a policy. Pride literally told fighters, "We don't test for steroids."
Contract specifically stated in capital letters, we do not test for steroids. They will encourage you to do steroids over there. They want you to look good. Everybody look like a superhero. I mean, just fucking just giant jack guys beating the shit out of each other.
The early UFC was like a supplement aisle with a cage in the middle. No real oversight. No real testing. Just two guys, a referee, and whatever was pumping through their veins. Guys showed up shredded, veiny, and foaming at the mouth, and nobody blinked. It was chaos, but it was making dollars. By the time the UFC got serious, everyone was already suspicious. Vitor Belfort's neck had muscles the size of toddlers. Alistair Overeem showed up looking like a Dutch linebacker. And Brock Lesnar? That wasn't a man. That was a science project. Vitor Belfort, the poster boy for the TRT era. The UFC gave him a doctor's note and he turned into a walking pharmacy. Head kicks, spinning back kicks, knockouts left and right. It wasn't subtle. The guy went from decent middleweight to destroyer of worlds overnight. Then there's Alistair Overeem, a skinny Dutch striker who suddenly put on 40 pounds of muscle and started folding heavyweights like lawn chairs. The guy even got nicknamed Ubereem. He failed a test with a 14-to-1 testosterone ratio. For context, normal is around 1-to-1. Chael Sonnen admitted to using multiple substances after getting busted. He literally said, "If you're not cheating, you're not trying." Respect the honesty at least. Anderson Silva failed too, twice. After the Nick Diaz fight, then again later. Eventually, the whispers got loud. The fans weren't blind. Clean fighters like Georges St-Pierre tried to make a change. He was quickly shut down and mocked. Everyone around him was juiced to the gills, and calling for clean tests made him the crazy one. Paranoid, overreacting, ruining the party. But the pressure worked. Sponsors got nervous. Media started sniffing. The UFC had to look clean, even if it wasn't. Then came USADA. In 2015, the UFC brought in independent testing. Sounds great, except USADA doesn't test for everything. They test for what they're told to look for, and they're paid by the UFC. Totally independent, right? Wrong! Yoel Romero tested positive for ibutamoren. He proved it came from a tainted supplement he bought over the counter. Still, he was given a 6-month suspension, even though USADA admitted he wasn't trying to cheat. Same story with Tim Means. After he provided his innocence, he was given 6 months as well. One guy gets suspended for a tainted supplement, another pops for the same thing, no suspension. Guess who? Mr. John Jones. Multiple failed tests. Still headlining pay-per-views, still making millions. Being Dana White's favorite fighter has its perks. The rules aren't the same for everyone. If you're a star, you get away. If you're a journeyman, you're out. And here's the crazy part. Some of the most suspicious fighters never popped officially. Yoel Romero failed one test. Turned out it was a tainted supplement. Still built like a Greek statue. Paulo Costa, brick wall with abs, never failed a test. Meanwhile, TJ Dillashaw was on EPO the whole time and only came clean after he got caught. Here's the loophole nobody talks about. UFC fighters can remove themselves from the USADA testing pool. All they have to do is say they're retired or injured. While they're out, they're not tested at all. Then when they're ready to return, they just need 6 months of clean tests before fighting again. That's what Conor McGregor did. Disappeared, bulked up, wasn't tested for a year, re-entered the pool on his own timeline. It's not against the rules, but it tells you everything about how flexible those rules really are. So when people say USADA runs independent testing, it's only partially true. Sure, they collect samples and handle lab work, but they don't control the schedule, the punishments, or the messaging. If the UFC wants to bury a test result until after a pay-per-view, they can. If they want to quietly let a star off the hook and announce it later with some vague excuse, that happens too. Remember Brock Lesnar at UFC 200? He failed a test before the fight, but the UFC didn't reveal it until after he cashed his check and walked away. Why? Because he was the main event. Because they needed him on the card. That's not random testing, that's selective enforcement. This isn't conspiracy, it's business. The UFC needs stars and stars need protection. USADA gives the illusion of fairness while the UFC controls the narrative. The whole program isn't designed to catch cheaters. It's designed to appear like they're trying to. Fighters know it, fans know it, and the UFC, they don't care, as long as the tickets are getting sold.
Now, with the UFC moving to Drug-Free Sport International, the setup could become even sketchier. The UFC will likely have more influence over how the new program is run.